Alright guys, so let's get into Sony's press conference. This press conference was a lot longer than I anticipated it being, and I think the benchmark's usually 90 minutes, but I think it went 2 hours if I'm not mistaken, unless um, I was delirious from being tired last night. But anyway, there was a lot going on there, and I'll talk about how I generally feel about the press conference at the end of this video, so let's just jump into the games. They showed off Destiny. And one of the things that they mentioned about Destiny was the beta for the PS4 is going to be on July 17th, which is a big deal. Um, excuse me. And PS4 users will get it first, and you'll notice that theme coming a lot. And they're even gonna before you even get to try the beta, they're gonna release an alpha for you just to get a hands-on for it on the PS4, only for PS4 users, starting this Thursday. So that's kind of cool. They announced the white PS4, which looks pretty cool, bundled with Destiny, due out in September, which is pretty cool. But a game that they showed off last year that they showed off a little more of this year is the Order 1886, which looks fucking fantastic. That looks amazing. Last year it looked like it was strictly CGI, so I didn't really, you know, I mean, I was still excited for it, but I didn't know, what it would look like. But then seeing the gameplay trailer this year, and granted, I know it's an E3 demo, that looks fantastic. It looks like it's going to be scary, but I just love the era, and, well, I'm not quite sure how they're going to talk about the fact that they have walkie-talkies or anything like that, or radio communications. Showing the lantern for the lights, the old school weapons, just the setting of the environment. I'm really, really excited for it, and it looks like it's going to be maybe not quite as visceral as Dead Space was, but maybe that same kind of tone when you're kind of by yourself and walking through dark corridors and stuff. I don't know, I'm just really excited for an experience like that, so that'll be cool. Then they showed off Entwined, and the reason why I'm bringing this one up, because it's one of those indie games that kind of looks like Flower or something like that, is I guess they had a team of recent graduates from San Jose State, which is just right, a few miles from where I am right now, and so I thought that was cool. And you were able to play it right after the press conference, so I thought that was cool. I mean, it was ready to buy and check out, so the idea of announcing it and dropping it the same day, I think, is going to have more of an appeal in the future. And why not? I mean, especially for a title where there's not going to be a huge barrier for entry, just put it out as soon as you can. So I thought that was cool. Then they showed off Little Big Planet 3, which I'm excited for. I love the Little Big Planet games. You can sink so much time into them. You can be creative. You can check out what other people are doing. And they introduced 3 characters to even add more depth to the puzzle making for the games. I mean, you've got Oddsock, which is that dog-looking thing, which I thought was pretty cute. Super Speed and that sort of thing. Toggle, which is the strong guy, but he can also be the smallest guy. So that'll change some things up. And then Swoop, which is that little bird, and so combining all their abilities makes for interesting uses of puzzles and interesting uses of just creating games within that game. I mean, that's the key component, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people out there that are really excited for it. And they also announced, and I think this is, phenomenal, and why other games similar to Little Big Planet don't really do this, but between Little Big Planet 1 and 2, I'm not sure about the mobile game, but between 1 and 2, all those puzzles I've created, millions of puzzles and games, you can actually do them in Little Big Planet 3, which is phenomenal, because then you get the best of all across the board, and you maybe even go back and edit them and add features from Little Big Planet 3 into those. So there's a huge amount of customization possibilities there, and it just looks like it's going to be fun to play again. I mean, it's always fun to play, but just something else to look forward to. Then they showed off Bloodborne, which kind of reminded me of Resident Evil in a way, maybe a survival horror type game. Seems interesting. I don't know a whole lot about it, but it's there, and I just thought I'd bring it up. Now, after that, they showed off Far Cry 3 gameplay, and I've never picked up a Far Cry game before. A lot of people have, and I understand their appeal, but I just, for whatever reason, just never got around to it. But this game I might actually just have to pick up and go out and play and finally just pull the trigger. I mean, they've always looked great. And there's always some kind of, I guess, crazy guy in charge, because I remember Far Cry 3 footage and watching videos and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, it looks great. The gameplay looks very smooth. I mean, it's a very polished game so far from what you see. And the environment looks huge and beautiful. It kind of reminds me of Uncharted 2 in terms of the setting. And dude, there's fucking attack elephants, like weaponized animals. That sounds awesome. I mean, that elephant was throwing bows. It was just fucking shit up. I mean, it went through explosions, it knocked people over, it blew up a fucking truck, and then you can have your friends play with you in-game. It looked like a pretty seamless transition, and I mean, it looks like that could be a load of fun to play, and I guess they showed off why Far Cry is what it is and why people pick it up, and so I may just have to pull the trigger on that one. It looks phenomenal and looks exciting to play. Then they showed off Dead Island 2. The trailer for that one looked hilarious, and it kind of reminded me of the first trailer. So whereas the first trailer for the first game was really somber and sad with that little girl falling from the top of the building or whatever, the second one took a different turn and made it a more comedic, and I think that was pretty cool. This is kind of where the bad jokes from executives started, and they were really bad, really awkward. And there was a few technical difficulties, which is surprising for Sony's press conferences, because they typically work out pretty well. But you know, shit happens when it happens live, so it's all right. But for the Dead Island, getting back to the Dead Island 2 trailer, at the end with the guy in the van picking up the shoes, I kind of sounded like Jack Black, which I think would be kind of cool if he were in a game, but I'm not sure if that was him. I watched it quite late last night, so I might have been hearing things, but I honestly thought it was Jack Black. But yeah, there's going to be a 30-day beta, as well as exclusive character class level for Sony subscribers. I think it's both PS3 and PS4. And again, that's going to be a common theme. PS4 is where they're trying to... It seems Sony's goal was to just tell you PS4 is where all the exclusive stuff's happening at in terms of early access. And again, I'll get more into that later. Then, of course, they showed off the fact that, because it had already been announced that The Last of Us Remastered was coming out, so there's going to be the zombie things from that game. I forget what they're called. But anyway, they're going to be imported into Diablo 3, which is on the PS3, and I just thought that was kind of cool to have cross-franchise incorporation. And Diablo 3 will have a separate map, I guess, for the for the Last of Us themed mission. And they showed off Battlefield Hardline again, and I just want to reiterate that game looks awesome. And if they take a page out of Far Cry's book, where they did you know, that retro 80s thing, I would love to see a Battlefield Hardline Hawaii 5.0 type DLC. Just call me crazy, but I think that would be awesome. And then right after that, there was a really awkward segue into Disney Infinity 2, I think, and they're showing off the Avengers characters that are going to be exclusive, I think, to the PS4 version. And I kind of want to pull the trigger on that just because I love the Avengers, and so that'll be cool. Destiny will also have an exclusive level on the PS4. I'm still not entirely excited for Destiny. I don't know why. I see the gameplay footage, and to me it just seems kind of stale. I don't know. A lot of people are excited for it, and with good reason, I think, but just personally for me, I don't know. I can't get on the hype train for that. I can't quite put my finger on it why, but we'll see how that goes, and maybe I'll change my mind as it gets closer to the release date. That's going to be in September, which is coming up pretty soon. So we'll see if they'll show off more gameplay footage. But they did tell you or show you that, give you a little more background into the story. And so Well, right now I can't entirely recall what it is. It sounds like humans uh, are are fighting the darkness or something. I don't know. It kind of reminds me of Halo in the sense that, you know, 343 Guilty Spark is trying to find you as a reclaimer. So that kind of storyline, I think, makes it over to Destiny. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. I don't know, but it seems similar enough. Then they did Magicka 2. I played the first Magicka. I didn't beat it, but I played some of it. And so I'm glad to see that humor is there. Um, and let's see. Oh yeah, I made note. Bad jokes with no laughter. Tim Schafer getting a little little girl Sally. She was 12, then she was 10, and then there's a picture. And so yeah, Tim Schafer's adventure game, Grim Fandango, is getting a remaster, and I got a lot of excitement out of the crowd. I personally have not played that game, but apparently it's a pretty big-time adventure game, and so I guess there's going to be a lot of people excited for that. I'll have to look more into that and see what it's like. Adventure games are always fun to play, and it's unfortunate there's not a whole lot of them anymore. But we'll see. We'll see how that turns out in the future. Nothing was really showed off for that, but a lot of people are excited. And Devolver Studios had a montage of games that they're coming out with, including a new Hotline Miami game, which is exciting because Hotline Miami, the first one, while brutal, was very fun to play. Again, didn't beat it, but I've got some time sunk into it. It's a very fun game and very unique, and I look forward to seeing the sequel. Maybe I'll finally get around to beating it. Let It Die. I wrote that down, and honestly, I can't remember what that's about. Sorry. Then some kind of segue into, so the company that made Journey, I guess, turned into a new studio, and they're making a game called Abzu. That looks awesome. Another indie game that showed off at E3 and really impressed, and I'll most likely get that because Journey was awesome. I loved it. So look forward to that. Then No Man's Sky got shown on demo, and the guy who I guess the guy, or maybe the main producer, I'm not quite sure what his title was, but I guess he's from the development company, and they've been working on it for a while, and he just legitimately seems so humble to be on stage, and that's always refreshing to see, because that game looks amazing, and I can only imagine what it's like being a small studio and getting noticed by a huge company like Sony to develop an exclusive for their console. So that game looks beautiful, and it kind of reminds me of Spore in the sense that you know, you see the creatures and the environment, but then all of a sudden you're exploring space. Maybe that's a bad analogy, but that's the feeling that I got. But you know, it starts off in the ground, then you get in your ship, and then you go out and you're fighting in the middle of a space battle, and then you're going to another planet, and you just see a whole bunch of stuff, and it seems like it's just one massive galaxy. I mean, the guy who came out on stage seemed to think that you know, even they don't know what's going to happen. So it might be some kind of infinity engine or something like that. But it certainly looks interesting and looks awesome. And it looks like it's going to be a very unique experience, which is something I think Sony was really, well, not just Sony, but it's something that all of these press conferences are trying to include in their game. Is something that's going to be different from the norm, and maybe that's a general trend that we're going to see coming up later. So, but yeah, No Man's Sky looks awesome, and I know a couple of my friends are super excited for it, and I feel as if more people should be excited for it, because it doesn't look like a boring experience. It looks like something entirely new and different, and I'm pumped about that. And then Sony took a jab at Microsoft. Took a jab at the Kinect. That was pretty hilarious. They brought out their PS camera, and now, and then they talked about Project Morpheus and how that's going to be used in conjunction with the PS camera, or PlayStation camera, which was to be expected. And it seems Sony too is also trying to get into the sharing game. On my PS4, I already know it's really easy to share clips, and they're making it even easier, even adding YouTube directly to the PS4, which is nice, to share Let's Play videos and stuff like that. And then they talked about free-to-play, which looked like a pretty impressive library. And I guess that free-to-play is part of the PS Now initiative that they're trying to do. So there's going to be an open beta at the end of July, and that experience is also going to be part of certain select Sony TVs. So for people who don't have any Sony gaming systems, they'll be able to try it out on their TV. They just got to go pick up a DualShock controller, which is like $60 compared to the cost of a full PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 3, and try out games. I mean, that's phenomenal. They're trying to increase their install base, which is awesome. And I mean, I think Sony's really hitting on all cylinders right now. And they showed off more reasons on why to use your remote play on the PS Vita. They're allowing the ability to, you know, in conjunction with the PlayStation TV, which is making its way here into the US, which is like some kind of streaming box similar to Roku and things like that. It'll allow you to play your PS4 remotely on a second TV, which is nice. So, for instance, in my household, I have my PS4 here in my bedroom, but if I wanted to show off my games to my friends in the living room, I would just need a PlayStation TV for $99, which is not, you know, that's a good price point. And I can do it directly from my Vita, which is awesome. And they also mentioned that you can even play other PlayStation Vita titles and PlayStation Classics that are digitally downloaded from your Vita onto the TV. That's awesome. I would love to be able to play Persona 4 Golden on a big screen TV. And if that's the case, I'm all over it. I'm buying that day one. So, again, that is something else that I think Sony is really hitting on. And now that we're getting to the end of the video, I can talk about more of the theme. Whereas Microsoft this year was they were just trying to put out games out there and focus on the games. Last year they tried to focus more on media, and they were still reeling from the bad press. This year it seems like Sony was able to push forward with not only their hardware initiative, but their entertainment initiatives. They talked about a TV show which had way too long of a segment on the press conference. But I mean, Sony's doing their TV thing. They're doing a Ratchet and Clank movie. They talked about the PlayStation TV, which seems awesome. It just seems, whereas, you know, Microsoft started off last year one step behind, or two steps behind. This year they're just getting now to the starting where they should have started last year. Whereas Sony is just progressively going forward. I think they really nailed it compared to Microsoft, and there's more to be excited about, really, compared to what Microsoft has to offer. So I think Sony's doing a really good job on trying to develop its install base, trying to develop more adopters for their other hardware via the PlayStation Vita, the PlayStation TV, their Sony TVs even, and even the PS4. So right now they're just hitting on all cylinders, and I feel as if they're doing everything right now. So we'll see how it proceeds, you know, in the future. But right now, in terms of press conference and what their plan is, it seems like it's really going really well. Then they showed off, well, they announced The Last of Us Remastered, which is going to come out at the end of this month, June 29th. Don't know if I'm going to pick that up because I already got it on PS3, but you never know, unless there's something, you know, exclusive that I don't know about. But I already have the DLC and everything, so it may not be a reason for me to pick it up on the PS4. But for other people who only have a PS4, that's a good idea. Then they showed off Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain. Again, always looks fantastic. I played Metal Gear Solid 4, and that's the only one that I've played, and that game was fun as shit. And so I feel as if there's more for me to learn. I have Ground Zeroes, and so I got to finally play that before that comes out. So that looks awesome, and it's just, I mean, again, you could tell by this part of the press conference that there's going to be a lot of heavy hitters coming. GTA 5 is coming to PS4 finally, and the thing that I thought was cool is all your GTA Online progress from PS3 and Xbox 360. Again, and the Xbox 360. All of your content from GTA Online you can transfer onto the PS4. I think that is a huge deal, because then there's going to be less of a obstacle on getting back onto your online account. A lot of people have a lot of time sunk into that, and it's nice that their progress won't be lost. I don't think that's going to apply to save game history. If you already completed the game on the other consoles. But that storyline I thought was great anyway, so it'd be fine. It's that online that is really a big deal because that's all cloud stored, and I'm sure it's really not that much harder to do. But then again, what do I know? But I think that's a big deal. Then they showed off the Arkham Knight gameplay, and that looks phenomenal. Again, I'm way behind on the Arkham series. I still got to beat Arkham City, and then there's Origins that came out that I didn't play, so shame on me for not playing them, but that game looks awesome. It really does. It looks, oh, I can't get over it. That looks amazing. So I'm sure a lot of people are excited about that, especially now that there's gameplay footage out there. So we'll see. Well, I mean, I'm sure it's going to sell really well. All of them have so far, so I'm excited for that. And then at the very end, they showed off a teaser for Uncharted 4, and with a Nathan that looks a little older. So I'm wondering if it's going to be a few years down the line from where Uncharted 3 left off. And they kept saying the phrase one last time throughout that whole teaser. So maybe this is the last Uncharted. I don't know. It's going to be due out in 2015, but I mean, everyone's going to go apeshit over that. It's Naughty Dog, it's Uncharted. That formula does not equal disaster. That always equals success. Even if it's a mediocre game, it's going to look fantastic. So I do know Naughty Dog had a couple people step down or go to other companies, so it'll be interesting how the feel of this game is going to be different. But I'm still really excited for it. And that was Sony's press conference. So again, like I was saying earlier, they really knocked this one out of the park, and early indications say they win E3 in terms of what the press conferences did. There's more to be excited about right now on the PS4, and I'm not just saying that because I have a PS4. I'm saying that because legitimately there's more stuff that's going to be coming out. Exclusive content, which is big. I'm not sure Microsoft really touched on a whole lot of exclusives. And we'll see how it all turns out. Well done, Sony, and I'll definitely be looking forward to what else is coming out in the near future. So again, thanks for watching, and we'll see what Nintendo had to come up with their Nintendo Direct this morning. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.